Hello and welcome back for a budget backyard refresh. I've been wanting to figure out some coverings for our patio space and set up some raised garden beds, and our girls are wanting to host a back to school barbecue with friends. So I actually found some stellar end of season clearance deals to give our backyard a little mini makeover, and I wanted to share them with you while we set everything up to make the most of our last few weeks of summer. So welcome to my backyard. We're gonna give it a little fall makeover refresh today because the girls went to host a back to school event with all of their friends. So we need to get this patio cleaned up, get some coverings on it, and just set up some fun activities in the backyard. And as always, to do this, I've placed an order with Costway. I say as always because Costway really is my go-to for everything home related. I just personally feel like they have the best selection of higher quality items at the most affordable prices that I can personally find online, and they have 24-hour customer service access, so anytime I have a question or a concern, it's really easy to speak directly with a real person. And then also 3 to 5 day delivery, which comes in clutch if you have a type B or C personality like I do and can sometimes wait until the last minute to get things done. That 3 to 5 day delivery window has saved me on a number of occasions. But anything from indoor to outdoor furniture, accessories, appliances, decor, activities, and even toys, if it falls within those categories, I am always shopping Costway first. It just makes the most sense for me. And so when I knew that we were going to be having quite a few people over at our house in our backyard, and on that day it's projected to be 90 degrees, full sun, it is going to be so uncomfortable on an uncovered patio space. So it was time to finally troubleshoot and figure out how to cover and shade this space. And so I ordered a couple of oversized patio umbrellas from Costway, just keeping my fingers crossed, hoping that they would work out. And before I could set them up, I needed to remove all of our broken string lights. Again, being in an uncovered space and just being left out for all seasons, the strings themselves have broken and these just no longer work. So it was time for them to go and create an open air space for me to be able to fully extend the umbrellas. And I have been talking to you guys about this for years now, pretty much 4 or 5 years since we DIY'd this patio and created this custom space. Really, I didn't realize we were doing that at the time, but it's 21 by 16 feet, and so it is a custom size, and not a lot is available in that sizing. So the number one suggestions have always been hardtop gazebos and pergolas, and there just aren't any that fit the square footage that we would need. And so that would mean we have to do a custom order, which has just always been way too expensive, way out of budget. But when I was browsing on Costway prepping for this backyard barbecue, I noticed that they had early access to their Labor Day sale, and there were outdoor deals up to 80% off clearance. So I was able to order these two oversized, I think they're 13-foot patio umbrellas as a part of that deal, and just kind of kept my fingers crossed that it would work out. Of course, I ordered very neutral colors, but they had a ton of color options and a ton of sizing options as well. And just with the measurements we had and the configuration we have on the patio, I thought this might work out the best. So here, Derek and I are putting these together and seeing how they work out in our space. And spoiler alert, it ends up being perfect, exactly what I was needing, and I'm kicking myself for not having realized it sooner. But all of that to say that if you are currently looking for anything to refresh your outdoor or indoor space, anything home related, Costway is having an amazing Labor Day sale and clearance prices up to 80% off. So make sure that you check them out, and I am partnered with Costway on today's video, so I've secured you an extra 10% off discount with the code that I'll leave on the screen and in the description box, and that will stack with clearance and sale prices. That means you can get your Costway order up to 90% off. So thank you so much to Costway for partnering with me on today's video and offering that extra 10% savings to all of my viewers and subscribers. So with these umbrellas being so oversized, they do come with weight bags that you put into the base of the umbrella just to secure it and make sure that it doesn't get picked up by the wind and blown away. And instead of buying bags of sand for this, Derek and I decided to try using this landscaping rock that's been piled behind our shed for the last few years, and it ended up working out perfectly. So there were 2 weight bags per umbrella base, and the base just kind of clicks together, and then you put the weight bags in, and then there's a covering that comes with it. It keeps it very secure, but I also love that it's super easy to break down, which makes it very, very easy to find storage solutions for this when the umbrella is not in use or when it's the off season, which helps to prolong the lifespan of the product itself and keep it in really good working condition for longer. So we will get seasons and seasons of use out of these umbrellas without them becoming damaged or anything like that from being left out during inclement weather. But anyway, as you can see, it expands perfectly for this dining area. And so once we had put together one, Derek felt comfortable to do the other on his own. So while he was getting that second one set up, I am going to be sorting through our deck box. We like to keep this one kind of back here on the patio space for things that we use often. That can be like bug repellent and bug sprays. We do have a couple of throw pillows and outdoor blankets and things like that back here. But then there's also a lot of trash that just started being put in here for whatever reason, probably laziness. So I'm pulling everything out and sorting through this because I wanted to make sure that we had adequate space to be able to store these umbrellas when they were not in use. I just felt like they worked out so well and I liked them so much that I want to get seasons and seasons of use out of them, which means we need to take care of them. We need to store them when they're not in use or when there's inclement weather. And so this deck storage box seemed like the best solution for that. So here I'm just pulling out absolutely everything that was in there, sorting it into piles of what we should keep and what can still be used and what has either been molded or broken or is just plain trash that was put in here. And I'm going to grab our dumpster and get all of that trash thrown away. And then anything that we are keeping, I'm just going to store it more strategically so that we have the room for the umbrella bases and the umbrellas themselves when we are ready to break them down and store them away. Maybe this is just a me problem, but watching this back, I feel like we have just accumulated so much junk out here that we were ignoring, and I wonder if this happens to anyone else. Like, do you feel like, especially in outdoor spaces, do you just accumulate the most mismatched hodgepodge of broken items that for some reason you continue storing away instead of just throwing out or donating if they're not broken and in good condition? I feel like we have a ton of like inflatable pools that have holes in them and watering cans that are broken, and I just don't understand why we've been storing them away for so long instead of just sorting them out and getting them in the trash. Do you all see this? This is perfect. It's exactly what I thought it would be. We did have to rearrange the seating area a little bit in order to fit the umbrella where I wanted it to be, but I'm totally fine with that. I actually like the way this looks a lot better than how we had it set up before. And I just love these umbrellas. They span across this patio perfectly. We have the entire dining area, table and chairs completely covered here, and then the entire seating area completely covered as well. And one of the things that I love most about this is that it's not permanent. So we can rearrange and move them around as we need according to the direction of the sun that day or how we're using the patio space without it being like cemented in place as maybe like a pergola or a gazebo might be. And then I did did get this deck box cleaned out. There's a lot of stuff that just need to be trashed in here, but we do have, those are like fireplace skewers for making s'mores, so we're keeping those. And then we do have this tarp, and we'll actually use this to protect the bounce house. So we'll lay it down on the ground and then put the bounce house on top of that just to make sure it doesn't get a hole in the bottom or pop. And then we have all of our like little bug repellent type things down here, but all of this space will be to store away the umbrellas when they're not in use. Let me get down here to show you the genius of what Costway has provided. So this little cover just stretches across and it's got some clips, so you can take that out whenever you're ready to store it away, talking about the base. And then all of these parts just click together, so you can unclick them very easily, store the weight bags, which come in 2 pieces separately, and break down the umbrella so it can actually fit into a tighter space, even though it is such a large piece of equipment. So basically what I'm saying is that we will be able to easily store both of the bases right here. We'll just deconstruct them, and it takes less than 5 minutes to do that, less than 5 minutes to put them together. Also their weight bags. So all that will fit in this little square here, and then the umbrellas will stretch across this, and we'll be able to place both of them on top of each other, and it will fit nicely in this deck box so that we can make sure that we are protecting and storing this equipment as we should be. And then these will last us for seasons and seasons to come. But oh my gosh, let me just take a step back again. I cannot believe how perfectly this worked out. I love this. Also, we won't be hanging any more lights because this just didn't work out for us. They snapped, as you saw with that one here. So we put this pole in, I want to say 2 years ago. We DIY'd it. It's all cement in the bottom of this. We are eventually going to remove it because it's totally unnecessary now and it's just an eyesore. But I don't think Derek wants to attempt to do that today because it's literally 400 pounds of concrete in here. So instead, I've got Derek over here building my raised garden beds for me. I am so excited about these. This is going to be such a fun project for the girls and I to do together. I want to say that these are 4 feet long, 48 inches, and I ordered them in this gorgeous kind of ashy gray finish, and they will be raised up, like they're going to have legs at the bottom. I'm assuming that these are the legs, so rabbits and pests can't get into them. We do have a lot of rabbits in our area, so I wanted to make sure they were up off the ground. And I love that gray tone because I feel like it complements the patio pavers really, really nicely. So I can't wait to see what these look like all put together. I did get 2 of them, so wish us luck that we can get them built in, I'm gonna say, less than 40 minutes. We totally did get these built in less than 40 minutes. I was shocked at how easy they were to put together, but honestly I shouldn't have been, because everything that we order from Costway is pretty straightforward. It has really thorough instructions and we've never really had an issue, so I think that's the quality that I've come to expect, and so I should have expected it. But anyway, yeah, I was very pleased. It was super easy to put these together. The 2 of us ended up getting this one done in like 10 minutes, and then Derek put the second one together on his own while I started checking out where we were going to be putting both of them and just how we wanted to arrange them in the backyard. And these were another steal of a deal. Oh my gosh, there were so many outdoor planters, raised garden beds, some that were higher up like this, some that were lower, trellises, all sorts of outdoor gardening materials are currently included in that 80% off clearance. So these were truly a steal of a deal. And while I've been feeling guilty for chatting about it so much, but never following through for the entire summer on these raised garden beds that I've been wanting to do, I am actually really happy that I waited until we were closer to the end of the season, because the sales right now are just unbeatable. So again, if you know you have plans for something like this in the future, definitely check out Costway now and start ordering your materials so that you can get those for those amazing end of season clearance prices, even though we still have like a month and a half left of the summer floral and gardening season. But anyway, now that that we have this one put together, I am just going to drag it around the entire yard and figure out where I wanted to put it. At first, I thought we would replace these 2 benches with it, but then we got nervous that it would be too close to the windows and attract bugs and wasps there. And then I thought maybe around the patio space or around the shed. And honestly, I might end up moving them to this side of this shed still. But my thinking in the moment was that it was too shaded from that big backyard tree. So then we ended up with what my original plan was, which was to put them on this concrete slab that's just randomly in the back of our yard. It's actually not random. The previous owners of our home had a canine unit, and so this was a dog kennel that they had built out here, and we removed like the chain link around it and the posts a few years ago, but removing concrete is hard and costly. So instead, we've just tried to figure out how to make use of that instead of having it taken out. And so right now I have these garden beds here, and I felt like this would be perfect because they wouldn't ruin like the grass underneath of them wherever we decide to put them. They still get like 6+ hours of direct sunlight being in that position in our backyard. So that's really good for vegetables and herbs and the flowers that we're wanting to grow. And then I can always move them in the future if I want to. But for now, I'm just going to see how it's going to work out to plant this one that we had started out building. And to fill some of this space, I'm using some more of that landscaping rock that had been piled behind our shed. I've seen a lot of people use things like cardboard or like leftover materials and packing supplies and things like that to fill up part of their garden bed, because adding in enough soil to fill this can be costly. So I just did a layer of the landscaping rock at the bottom. I felt like it would fill this space and it would help with drainage. And then I have 2 bags of soil that I'm putting on top, and this ended up being perfect. I had about 1/3 of the garden bed filled with the rock, and then another about 1/3 to a little bit more filled with just 2 bags of soil. And then I'm going to grab some plants that we already had in our front flower beds from when I did some front landscaping in the spring and summertime, and these are on their last leg. They are fighting for their life, and a lot of you said it's probably because they were root bound, which clearly they were. You can see it when I'm pulling them out of their pots. So I'm going to try replanting them here in this garden bed and breaking up the soil that came in their pots and then mixing it in with the soil that I had added into this space. Ended up filling the rest of that garden bed really nicely. So this could not have worked out more perfectly. And don't get me wrong, I know that this might actually not work out long term, and all of these plants might just continue to die and they won't be reusable, but they are perennials, so I wanted to at least try before I go out and spend a couple $100s on new plants for this space. So I think we're going to finish out the rest of the season trying it this way, and if it doesn't work, then next spring for sure, now that I have the garden beds and I understand the setup and how they function and we can use them, next spring for sure we will be planting a cut flower garden and also an herb garden. So this is what the raised garden beds are looking like right now, and I actually just pulled all of these out of my front flower beds. We're getting ready to decorate it for fall anyway, and these are all perennials that have been fighting for their life in my potted flower garden on the front step. They did beautifully for a few weeks, and then the weather just went crazy, and a lot of you said that they might be root bound and needed to actually be potted instead of just like dropped into the pot the way the instructions said. So I thought I'll try them in here, see if I can revive them. A lot of them, or all the pieces I kept anyway, still have quite a bit of green, or the roots didn't break apart easily. So these are supposed to be perennials, which means they'll come year after year, and they are blooming flowers for spring, summer, and fall. So I guess we'll know within a couple of weeks if this works out or if I need to start from scratch. And then in this second bed, I didn't even do like the rocks or soil or anything. I just set our ferns from the front step in here. I think I might actually attempt to keep these alive through the winter and reuse them next spring. I had no idea that like ferns can just keep growing and stay alive if you take care of them properly. I know this isn't taking care of them properly, but I'm contemplating it, so I didn't want to throw them out yet. But in this bed in particular, I'm going to do an herb garden with things like cilantro, rosemary, basil, things that I cook with a lot, and maybe even some like climbing cherry tomato plants on the back end here. But I want to do a little bit more research to make sure that I do it the right way, because it's going to be a big monetary investment, and so I just want to make sure that I'm planting them the right time of year and the right way for them to thrive. And then while I was doing that, Derek went ahead and just set up the kids like climbing inflatable jungle gym little pool thing. Obviously we're not going to put any water in it right now because it is going to rain tonight, so we're going to take this down, but we just wanted to see kind of how it would work best in the yard, the configuration, the size and scale of it, all of that. So it can be used dry or it can be used wet. You can fill this entire space with water and then have water that kind of pumps down the slide for a water slide. And I just know the girls, especially Sawyer and her friends, are going to have so much fun playing with this. But before I close this out, I also wanted to give you a little update on some of our really good Castaway scores from last year. So actually these folding wooden Adirondack chairs, we have a set of 4 of them. They've held up great. They're still in basically brand new condition. You can see there's no damage, there's no wear and tear. They still fold up and store away beautifully. We just have them folded here right now instead of set out because Derek does this when he cuts the grass, but typically we've been setting them up right here around our fire pit, and it's the perfect cozy spot for roasting marshmallows. And then this giant backyard Connect 4 is one of our favorite things. Ever since I've set it on this concrete slab, the girls have played with it so much more with their friends. The net is not ripped or broken at all, despite it being out. We don't store it away, so it's out for all seasons and in all kinds of weather. All of the little discs are still in perfect condition. We haven't lost any of them. There's no cracks in the plastic. I want to say we scored this for around $50 on Castaway last year, and it still looks like it's brand new, and we've had it for an entire calendar year, again, outside in all weather conditions. And then the same with the girls' basketball hoop and their trampoline, still in perfect condition. They get daily use, and we have no rips in the safety netting. The zipper still works perfectly. There's no rust on the steps or on the support, and this is just the perfect size to nestle into this awkward corner by the crawl space of our house, and it's perfect for our 2 girls to play together or with a friend or 2. We have absolutely loved this, and it was such a worthwhile purchase, such a perfect find from Castaway last year. Anyway, all of this to say that we absolutely love Castaway, and personally I feel like the selection, the price point, and the quality of the items just can't be beat. They've truly helped us over the last couple of years to transform our outdoor space into the backyard entertainment oasis of our dreams. But this is going to wrap up today's video. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me while I made some improvements and transformed my backyard space. Thank you so much to Castaway for partnering with me and sponsoring today's video, and hopefully I see you all in the next one. Bye!